Hey guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. See you later. Hey, I'm glad we worked that out.
Love you, brother.
Wait 1 second here.
Hey, Jerry.
Good. Appreciate you. Well, today,
I got it turned in. We'll see what happens.
yeah.
You got what turned in?
They gave some awards out.
Oh, okay.
County Commissioner Marines.
Yeah, I need to get with you.
Okay.
Get some tips. I'm a virgin.
How's your dad?
I hadn't seen him in a long time. Hey, Sheriff. How are you, sir? Let me get a picture of that good-looking face. You had never minded taking pictures. Has he? Yeah, I had never seen him run from the camera. Hey, Judge.
Strange deal.
How you doing, Judge?
What's going on, fella?
How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Good to see you.
So I thought that was
Excuse me.
Be sure to turn in those questions to this guy right here.
I'm a no.
It's on the they sent us a
Questions. I've given you a sheet. You need to give it to that guy when these things start.
Okay, we passed out cards this time so that everyone can put their question on a card, and I'll read it for you.
Anybody else? Okay.
All right, so why don't we get started? Somebody from Kathy, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And Mike, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Yes. Our most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, Father, we thank you for this opportunity we have to come here tonight. We thank you for the country that we live in, that we are allowed freedom to assemble and to discuss the things of politics. Father, we pray that we would do good, that we would listen attentively, and we would apply our vote in a proper way. For it's all in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
My name is Bob Kessig. I'm president of the Lake Country Republican Club. We meet once a month. We're now over at the Ancona restaurant, a big room in the back. People are very, very kind and helpful there. Food's really good. I recommend it if you haven't tried the Italian food. Thanks a lot for coming out tonight. We're going to start off with the commissioners first from Precinct 2. That's incumbent Jerry Gaskill and Sten. I promised I would call him by his first name, so I could do that one. So if you want to come up and take a seat, maybe one on each side, that'll be fine. Before we start that, I just wanted to say a little something about our club. I kind of neglected to do that last year, and I regret it. We have a really nice group of people, probably about 15 to 25 active members, and we talk about, basically about Texas issues. Pretty much the legislative process in Austin probably occupies most of the time. We don't spend a lot of time on the national stuff that's pretty ground in the hamburger by the time it gets out to us again. And I was going to say we did something this last legislative session to try to promote awareness to voters about the Republican legislative priorities. You know, we're here for, our club is a Republican club, Lake Country Republican Club, and the delegates that go to the state convention every other year vote on the legislative priorities that they would like the legislature to focus on. Just a few things. The previous 2019 legislature, they had 5 priorities.
Sorry.
And in this 2021 legislative year, we had 8 priorities. So what we did to try to bring awareness, one of our members had this idea to use a postcard, much like you do for candidates, to make awareness to people that so-and-so is running and send it out to voters. So we literally had some meetings in the different communities around the county and invited people to come, showed them the postcard. So here, just to give you an idea of what those 8 priorities were. And you could check the ones that were important to you. If you want to check them all, that was fine. If you want to leave them blank, that's fine. But one of them was to address election integrity. One was religious freedom. One was banning child gender modification. You probably heard about that. Abolishing abortion, constitutional carry, which was the one thing that passed, monument protection, school choice for all, and banning taxpayer-funded lobbying. That has to do with commissioners. So, anyway, I just want to let you know that was one of the projects that we dealt with and had a real success. Because of a Republican position I had, I knew a lot of the county chairs in the other counties, the entire Senate district. Brian Hughes was our senator. If you didn't know that, I'm sure you know Brian Hughes, but that 16 county district, we pushed them out beyond Wood County, and we probably had over 30,000 postcards turned in. So we collected those postcards after the people filled them out and sent them to the district offices where your state reps have an office to collect. So we were given our own representatives feedback on what we thought was important. Okay? So that was just one thing that we did this last year. So the first thing I wanted to do was recognize office holders. It's always good to recognize them so people become familiar. Anybody in elected office now, stand up. Angela Albers, our DA, and
Tony Gilbert.
Tony Gilbert. Jerry Gaskill. And who else do we miss?
Virgil Holland.
Virgil's here, okay, and then,
Russ Lacker, Precinct 4.
Mark Simmons.
and we have Councilor Bowser back there. Alrighty, so what we're gonna do is give each candidate about 3 minutes to present themselves and describe who they are, however they wanna present their campaign. And then we'll go to these questions, and what I wanna do is I want all the questions to go to both people. I know a lot of people put down that one. So we're gonna make sure that both people have a chance to deal with these questions, and not make it personal. So, and she's gonna keep time up here. We're gonna do about 2 minutes for the questions, I think. I think it'll be adequate. See how that works. If it doesn't work, we can always change it. We're not bound with chains. So these are the cards I have so far. I have a few questions I brought myself. Okay. All right, so why don't we start with Sten. Go first and introduce yourself and why you're running.
Certainly. Wish you all a good evening, and I'm very humbled and honored.
No, just, we can't with the cord. Just
Yeah,
for
you
starters.
should come to the mic, to the podium.
I don't
I'm
wanna
just
do it.
saying, they can't hear in the back of the room, that always happens.
Let's just see how it goes. Okay.
Just tell me what to do.
Go ahead.
Good evening, can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right, but that solves the microphone problem. I'm very, very humbled and honored to be here. I want to thank Bob and his club for arranging this. It represents a lot of work. And I want to thank Commissioner Gaskill for attending as well, and our other elected officials. My name is Sten Langsjoen. That's Norwegian, German, and Swedish. That's probably why most folks can't pronounce the name real quickly. I'm 64. This is my lovely wife, Lorinda Meitzel. We've lived, since we've been married, outside of Golden since 2008. Lori had land out there much longer than that, but that's when I married her. Between us, we have 5 children and 9 grandkids. And that, as far as me personally, let me tell you a little bit about my background, because to me, family is very important. I have 4 siblings. We are the children of Per Harold Langsjoen and Carol June Langsjoen. My father and his 6 brothers all enlisted in the military between December 7th and Christmas of 1941. My father went into the Navy after the war was over. He was honorably discharged as a lieutenant, Purple Heart, battle ribbons, and then he went to medical school. After that, he joined the Army, and in 1960, he retired as a major. My brothers and sisters were all born while we lived in military facilities. Our family moved to Texas when I was 6 months old, so Texas basically is the only
Holy
home.
wife mode, 30 years, and I have 10 kids and 11 grandkids actually, and, we've lived here in Wood County, I guess, almost all of our life. So, one of the things that, you know, in the almost 20 years that I've been with the county as commissioner, I've been there almost 30 years total, but within the 20 years, I've seen a lot of changes in Wood County. And, you know, Wood County's growth. And one of the things that I would say that hasn't changed though, is the conservative court that we have. I've served with a lot of judges and different commissioners over the years. We have a very conservative court, and we have $18 million fund balance. We are debt free in Wood County, and we are either the first or second retirement county in the whole state of Texas. So people don't move here because we have higher taxes or bad roads. And we went down on the tax rate 6 years in a row already. The tax rate 6 years in a row went down. Of course, I know appraisals go up, so it helps us to do those kind of things. But I just like to say, you know, we don't go out and finance things. If I need a piece of equipment or something, I save up for several years if I don't have the money in my budget, because I don't use the taxpayers of Wood County's tax money to pay finance charges, you know. So the whole time that I've been with the county, I've got to serve with a lot of good people in our county. And, you know, you hear a lot of talk about the quality of life of Wood County. I'm telling you, we have had the best quality of life in Wood County for a long time. And I think a big part of it is due to the conservatorship that we have. We're very conservative. And then if you look at, like in our precinct, you know, that's kind of county-wide things, but if you look in our precinct, you know, our response time is, I bet it's the best in Texas. If you call us, we take care of business. That's what we do. And I have a good crew that works for me, and we have very good roads. And and we've actually, the crew is very good. I mean, we've won the safety award for the county 10 years in a row. I mean, so that's saying something for your crew. So, but anyways, I just continue wanting to work for the people of Wood County, and I appreciate y'all inviting me here. And I would like for you to remember me when it comes March 1st. Thank you.
Yeah, that's when the primary is, by the way. It's right around the corner in March. They got their redistricting done pretty quickly. Otherwise, it would have been quite a bit later in the year, I think. All right, I've got a few questions here for the commissioners, commissioner candidates, I should say. What is your position on Wood County having a paper ballot system for conducting all Wood County elections, and what is your rationale? You want to go first this time, Jerry?
Sure. It wasn't too long ago that we had some of y'all came to court, commissioner's court, asking about the paper ballots. And at that time and now, I would tell you, I'm not against the paper ballot, and I don't think anybody on our court's against having paper ballots. I do know that if, you know, there is mandates in Texas that we don't like, but I do know if you're running for a federal office, you still have to have a machine there, electronic machine to do that. And of course, also with your handicap stuff. But I'm for the paper ballots, but there would also be a, you know, electronic counter there, so you're not up all night waiting on your results. So.
I think as we can read some national news stories, it can be fraught with error. I think if it's implemented carefully and we have paper backups, I think that's great.
I would just add to that, so who is it that decides? Does the commissioner's court decide on that?
Yes, I believe that's right. But there's still also, it's like, I think year 2026, they say we have to have new equipment, but they haven't even came out with the new equipment yet. But if we went with paper ballot, we'd get around all that and get it done a lot cheaper.
Okay, this is a question on broadband availability. What are your plans to make our county business friendly with broadband availability? Sten Langsjoen first on that.
Well, I think the first order of business there is to find out what the businesses want. If they think that's gonna serve their purposes well, then we look into it. There's a cost aspect of it, of course. I don't think it's, for, a group of men on a commissioner's court say, yeah, here it comes and this is what we're gonna give you. I think the input from the county of what will serve your businesses, what you serve your schools, is the starting point, and then you look at the budget aspects of it, and then you implement it as appropriate.
This one, was addressed to Jerry. Why are you not conducting a forum in your precinct? Let me comment. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Broadband?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
of course,
Forgot pretty easily.
we did get COVID money, and part of that, there's certain things you can spend that on, and part of that is broadband. And there's other things that could be spent on too. There's a lot of important stuff that we really have to look through and figure out what's the best route to go in spending this COVID money. But one of the options is broadband, so.
Sorry about that. And someone's asking why, you're not conducting a forum in your precinct. And I can answer for Lake Country. Lake Country Republican Club has traditionally done the forums here in the center of the county by the courthouse. We've always had great turnouts. We had it for each of the commissioners regardless of, you know, which commissioner they were, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So, if you wanna address that, why aren't you having one in your
I'm not
precinct?
having one because I don't set them up, first of all. I mean, I'd love to have one in the precinct where we work.
Yeah, yeah. Sten, you wanna comment about the location?
Well, not so much the location, but like I said initially, I told you I was quite new to this. If it was, if I had input in to say, hey, let's have a forum in any particular location, I'd love to have one around Golden. That's where we live. We got a lot of people that have input into issues I care about, and that would be fine. So if we have a host that could make that happen, I don't know if it's appropriate for the candidate to host that forum, but I'm all in favor of that.
I was gonna say, I believe Janet Caslow, our Republican Party, county chair, put a complete list of all the different forums that are taking place. I went over and attended over at, Horseshoe Bend the other day, Saturday. I believe there was one on Thursday night, for some of the candidates up in, Precinct 1 up in Yanthus. Ours is here, both of ours are gonna be here at the, we're gonna do another one on the other, Precinct 4 candidate and the county judge on February 8th. So we have that on the calendar. Holly Lake has had, I think they have 2 separate ones based on various candidates that they hold over at Holly Lake Ranch. So there's a number of places you can go to that are around the county that is probably more convenient people. Another question here for the commissioners. This is a little bit long here. Let me read this. The county of Wood County will be purchasing new voting equipment as mandated by law and by age of current electronic equipment. There currently is a grassroots movement to return to hand-marked paper ballots on November 14th. The vendor, Hart Intercivic, that's the maker of these machines, presented the equipment being looked at by the election administrator. It was clear that Wood County would save taxpayers over $700,000 if the county buys only the scanner, which scans the voter hand-marked ballots. However, the election administrator wants the county to spend extra for electronic machines that print a summary that the voter then takes to the same scanner that scans hand-marked ballots. What is your position on this issue? Track that?
Kind of. Well, I do remember when Hart brought the 2 different types of machines to Commissioner's Court, the paper ballot and the other newer machine. But of course, at this point right now, you know, they say we have to have new machines by a certain date, but that date's way down the road. If we were to buy them right now, they'd be out. That kind of like computers, you know. By the time that gets around, those will almost be obsolete. But I think with the paper ballots, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that question was, but with the paper ballot, I mean, I understand the counter for counting it,
Mm-hmm.
but then you said something about a scanner.
Yeah, just hang on a second, let me just give you the last part of it. It was clear that Wood County would save taxpayers over $700,000 if the county buys only the scanner, which scans the voter hand-marked ballots. That would be the cost for just that, and accomplish that, and I guess the idea is you'd have that regardless.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that counter regardless, if you did the machines or not. So if you did the paper ballots now, that's what you're gonna spend, and you're not gonna waste money on that, because you're gonna use it if you had to go back to machines. However, the election administrator wants the county to spend extra for electronic machines that print a summary that the voters then take to the same scanner that scans hand-marked ballots. So I guess it would be a duplication.
Well, like I said before, we are a conservative court, and if we can save money and get the job done, that's what we do.
Dan, you want to address that, please?
Sure. I think I'd start by asking what the administrator's thought process was behind asking for an additional outlay of money. If it made sense, then it would certainly be worth considering, and then if it makes sense, you look at the cost. And of course, we're not in the business of throwing money away, and like I said earlier, technology has its place, but I think we have to be cautious about how we implement it. So I think as far as any problem, you start with, if somebody says, I want this, well, give us a good explanation for it. And if it makes sense and it's cost efficient, that's fine.
Okay, I've got a couple questions here, and it specifically addresses the resignation of the district clerk, Donna Houston. I was quite struck by this. It was in the Wood County Monitor, fairly recently here, December 16th. District clerk resigns, cites toxic atmosphere in the county courthouse. Well, we do live in a peaceful place. We've lived in Texas for 40 years, and I think this is the nicest place we've lived. So this actually was kind of shocking to me. So let me just give you a quote that they quoted from Miss Houston. She was elected 3 years ago, served in the office for 3 years, had 1 more year to go. So her resignation, effective December 31st, means that she was giving up her job for the last year before she even had to, I guess, stand for re-election. So a comment that she made here in the beginning, I just thought this was very gripping to read this. Maybe I was naive when I took office, but I thought that because we all work for Wood County, that we would all work together for the betterment of Wood County. Sadly, that is not the case, and I'm not talking about every person. Really, it's just staggering to me that I think it would be improper if I came here tonight and didn't read this to you. The hate and ugliness that dwells in this building is palpable. The desire for someone to succeed for the simple reason that they are doing a good job does not exist. So my question back to you is, what can be done about this? Can anybody affect change?
Well, I mean, like I say, you can make policies after policies, but when you have elected officials in certain offices, other elected officials can't tell them elected officials what to do, because they're not their boss. You know, the taxpayers are the elected officials' boss if it has something to do with that. But I mean, more than willing to work with Donna, and always have. I've never had a problem with it. Like I say, I'm not in that office every day, and I don't even have an office there. I go to court there. But the commissioners have a whole other job in their precinct where they work daily and have an office there, and they have a county lake that they have to take care of. There's a lot on the commissioner's plate. It's not going up and sitting at the courthouse every day. So I'm sorry if I'm not aware of her not getting along with some people, but you know, I just wasn't in the end on that. So,
I think that circles back around what I said earlier. I think what it calls for is a serious introspection introspection of anybody in that courthouse. Like I said, Donna presented her position quite passionately, but I don't think it's appropriate to point fingers, but I think all of us can step back and go, I think we can do a little better in our interactions with each other to make that courthouse work.
Stan?
Don't really think I can add anything that I haven't already said.
Okay.
It calls upon us all in our individual ways to do better.
Let's see, you started first, so you want to do your closing statement?
Yes, I mean, I'd just like to say, you know, I see a lot of people work together. I mean, we do. We work together for the best of the taxpayers of Wood County. That's what we're there for. We're to be stewards of the tax dollars of Wood County. And I can say it over and over again. We have the best quality of life. I'm not saying we can't do better. Everybody strives to do better. Everybody wants to. If you don't strive to do better, there's something wrong. But Wood County is doing very well compared to any county around us. I promise you. We live in the land of milk and honey right here, as far as I'm concerned. So, but and you know, anytime you call me, I mean, there was even a big deal started about going through committees. If you have a problem out in the county, send this paperwork, fill out something, go through this committee, and then it gets back to the commissioners, and we'll ask them. But what's wrong with calling your commissioner straight up like we do right now? Because I promise you, I've had so many people say, well, we just called, you already got this done. But that's what it's all about. We're there to work for the people of Wood County, and I'm gonna continue to do so if y'all elect me March the 1st, and I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, let me thank you for your attention and let me address you. I think I touched on this earlier. I think I have a body of skills that could be very helpful to the commissioners. Through my practice, I've had problems walking to my office. It's a question of identifying what it is, marshaling assets to address it, setting up a goal line, a time frame, and making it within a budget. And I think whatever comes through the commissioner's doors, whether it's roads, bridges, budgets, policies, rural development, I think all of those things can be productively addressed. And since I've been operating a law office for 30 years, managing my money and hundreds of thousands of dollars of other people's money, I think I'm well skilled to take on that role. And I would enjoy visiting with you outside of this forum, and I can tell you more of my thoughts. And I would like to serve as commissioner for you, not only for the welfare and safety of the people in this county, but for the welfare and safety of folks that are moving into the county. And I think term limits as a mandatory thing, I don't think that's appropriate, but I think voters should be conscious of the value of a change in guard, and I would be very, very honored to have you vote for me. Thank you.
Okay, so that ends the commissioners. Yeah. So we're supposed to have Mr. Wheeler, right?
Work on
So you can have 3 minutes to introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Angela Albers, and I am the elected district attorney for Wood County. I've held that position since 2019, when Governor Abbott appointed me to the vacant post that my opponent resigned from. I have been a prosecutor for 21 years. I know I don't look that old, but I have. I've got a lot of legal experience. This is the only thing I've ever done. In my belief, the Lord has called me to this position. I was sitting back there thinking, well, what should I tell them? And I'm going to just tell you about my day-to-day, and it'll tell you about Angela Albers. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. I'm a single mom. I take care of my 3 children. I got them up so they could get to school and get to golf practice by 6:45 a.m. After that, before that though, I said my prayer. Before I get out of bed, I thank the Lord for giving me another day. Took them to school, headed straight to the courthouse where I worked for the last 14 years. And I got in there, we have grand jury tomorrow, so I started reading a pretty complicated case, trying to get that indictment ready. Then I remembered that I had a quarterly police officers meeting that I set up at 11 o'clock, where I feed them lunch. Officers from all over the county were invited to come and fellowship with one another, and also to talk about best practices and some issues that we may be having, and how my office can do our job better. Then after that, I went back to my office, worked on some more cases, talked to some staff members, and then got ready to come today. Angela Albers is about integrity. She's about her children. She's about this county that I moved to 14 years ago, and I'm raising my children in. Governor Abbott entrusted me with this position, and then in 2020, the voters of Wood County elected me to it. And I'm asking you again to vote for me. Don't wait till March 1st, though. I'm asking for you to vote for me on February 14th. If you'll start February 14th through the 25th, get that early voting done, I ask for your vote. Thank you.
So I want to ask you about.
I'm just going to stop. I know last night, my dad has the virus, COVID virus, and my mother has bronchitis, so I was not able to attend the forum last night. And I know that my opponent chose not to answer any questions at that forum, and he said for fairness for me not being able to attend because I had to be at a school board meeting where my daughter was getting honored for UIL participation. So I'm going to extend that same courtesy and reserve any questions. I have a meet and greet in Winsboro on Saturday, and I'll be there from 1 to 3. You can call my office, come visit me anytime. I'll also be doing a Facebook Live event where you can call in your questions. So I'm just going to reserve that as well in fairness to him. I don't know why he's not here tonight. So
So you're just going to do whatever you want. That's good.
I don't think that's called for, Mr.
Yes, I do.
Very rude. I would be happy to visit with y'all.
Thank you.
Hey, young man, would you like to make any comments you didn't get to answer or ask? Anything you'd like to say for a minute or two?
No, sir, I'm good, thank you.
What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry.
Integrity is my word.
I was your host for last night. So I appreciate that. We'll touch bases with you for some other questions. Thank you. Good to see you. I think that was the right Precinct 2.
Oh, I didn't see you.
Good luck to you.
Okay, bud.
I'm gonna hug you for everything. Yeah, you come out all the time. We're talking. I'm you still in Yankee?
I live in Hawkins. I'm a precinct chair. I kind of run around all in politics. My family's been here since 1893, so I love my county. Republicans. That's what my Miss Shar says.
Hey,
So
guys.
if you're not doing anything one day, you'll have to come over and see the Republican women in Wood County. We meet over in Quitman, over at the what is it? Carol Green Center. I always get the name mixed up.
I'm sure she.
And we have a joyous time over there. So look forward to meeting new people always.
Yeah, I need to make it over there. I have businesses I run.
What do you do?
I have a business. Okay.
I was just going to ask you, sir, if you had anything that somebody didn't ask you that you wanted to make any kind of statement for the record. I'm with Lone Star News. Maybe a minute or two. If you got anything you'd like to say that you didn't get a chance. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I'm very concerned about the unchecked rural development.
Very what?
Unchecked rural development.
Okay.
We have millions of people coming into this country.
Oh, yeah.
It's naive to think they're not going to come in here.
Right.
And this is a beautiful town. And if the subdivisions pop up poorly regulated, that'll overtax our utilities.
Of course.
Wear our roads, and then it sets the stage for poor construction.
What would be your plan to stop that where illegal aliens are coming across the border and filling our country up and opening up little small developments that aren't up to code? And that's a great statement.
Well, here's we got to start that in a couple levels. As far as what to do at the border itself.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about once they're here.
What I can tell you, Texas has done to deal with the colonias that are forming, that already formed all along the border. In the counties that did not regulate well the county development, you had those compact areas of people that came in poorly regulated and it got out of hand.
Well, I just wanted to give you the opportunity.
The state regulated county or along the borders very strictly. There's nothing that prevents our county from implementing additional policies that would slow that growth or check it, not prevent it, but so that it increases the value that's being developed of the land, and it increases the value of folks' land around it.
Sounds good. I think that's a great statement.
And I think
Look, I don't
that's been
even have my
neglected
notebook.
in Wood County.
I don't have any paper.
The rural subdivision rules have not been changed here since 2008.
Well, speaking of that kind of segues into something I'd like to ask you. I'm a reporter. There's a bunch of citizen reporters in this area. And there's a county rule in place right now, and I'm going to try to talk to the commissioners about it, that says we cannot record in the courthouse. And I understand you can't record in a courtroom without a judge's permission, a little bit, not totally. I don't understand it totally. But in the foyers and the hallways and lobbies, anywhere that the public is allowed to go that's not restricted, I've been told by this administration that we cannot record. And what we try to do as citizen journalists, we try to go in there and record and document our proceedings, say with the district attorney, and show them how the process works. Or we'll go to the county clerk and request records or something and try to show homebound citizens, or even citizens that's maybe too scared to go ask the question in person, show them how the process works, and maybe ask the questions for some people that won't come up there. And it's a law. There's many laws that says I can go into any public hallway, lobby, anywhere my eyes can see that's not restricted, and record it for dissemination to the public. Would you be interested in looking, if you was happening to win, would you be interested in looking at those laws and seeing about getting us in the courthouse?
I'm looking at them, I think
I don't mean to
there's
interrupt
two
you.
sides to that, and I think
One question.
so long as you're not disrupting the county.
Of course, as long as you're behaving yourself.
That's one aspect of it, but
Because I saw it on his
I'm not
website.
gonna come down on one side or the other on it, but I.
You'll look into it, that's all I ask you to do. You'll look into it?
Oh, I'd be happy.
Okay, thank you, sir, it's nice talking with you.
What was your name again?
Brent Neighbors.
Brent Neighbors.
Yes,
Nice to meet
Lone,
you, sir.
Lone Star News.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna knock Patty over just a
Are you interested in signing a petition to the commissioners about raising paper ballots in Wood County? Give you a chance to set your stuff down.
And that's all it says? Yes,
We're gathering signatures, and are you a registered voter in Wood County? Okay.
I live there, I've been there all my life.
Some people here are
Here, what are you doing?
I believe that. And print your name.
I'm not comfortable with that, it's gotta be, how come they didn't have to print it?
Because she just wrote it and then realized, oh, it needed to be printed, so she wrote it over here. So the print name goes here, the signature goes here, and then your brother's name also.
Thank you.
We had to stay in Reno for 3 nights at a hotel. We did not enjoy it. We got to spend 3 nights there. Therefore, we were paying $900 a night for this house, but it was a 5-bedroom, 2-story, and there were like 13 of us.
Yeah, we're not together. Nice to meet you, sir.
Oh, I'm gonna bring the phone. All we can do is ring the phone.
Hey, whatever you gotta do, right? I mean, I just wanted to wear my new boots.
Hey, may I have a word with you, Commissioner, on the record? I'm Brent Neighbors, Lone Star News. Remember I talked to you a few months back about the courthouse?
About what?
Might not, you're a busy man. I had called you a couple of months ago about the judge had told me that you were over the courthouse rules, and I called you and you said, I'm not over the courthouse, I pick up the trash and stuff.
Oh, I'm not, I oversee the maintenance.
Oh, I understand.
There's no rules.
There's no what?
There's no rules that I'm over.
But I was wondering if you might, she said you were over it. I've got the letter that she wrote me. And I'm not saying who's what, but I really didn't like, you kind of put me off. Remember hanging up on me?
Well, the same thing you're doing now. You're asking me something and saying something that I've never read or never heard about.
Well, would you like me to send it to you where you can read it?
Yes.
All I want you to do is try to look into the law and see that it is legal for a citizen to come in. You can't come into the courtroom, but I ought to be able to go to the district the district clerk or the DA primarily to show homebound citizens, scared citizens that are scared to ask the questions that we ask, and just anybody to show them how the process works and disseminate it to the public.
Each judge has their own say about their area.
Well,
We're not,
judges.
we're not, we don't do legal. Commissioners don't do legal. They do administrative policies.
I understand that.
The DAs.
I understand that, and we're going to interview the judge. But I don't. You know, I heard,
You have to understand the county judge is administrative.
I know
and
that.
legal.
I
They
know
do
that.
both
But I
things.
told you I didn't know as much as you know about the commissioner's office because I've never been a commissioner. But I heard this commissioner up here tonight say that, boy, we got an open office and y'all come talk to us anytime you want to. And it made me think of you hanging up on me when I called you.
I'm sorry.
Would you please not do that anymore? Sir? Is that a yes or a no or a maybe? Mr. Acker? Thank you, sir. Wow.
Way better.
Semper Fi.
Hey, long time no see. Lord, how you doing? I like that color.
I was trying to be as crazy as he got me be.
No, he's got to be. I do like that color.
How are you, sir?
I just can't do it. I try.
How's your wife doing? Haven't seen her.
I gotta get a picture.
Oh.
See, I go to bed too.
Hey, Sheriff, can you give me a good smile before we leave? I know you're not scared of the camera. He ain't never been scared of the
You got
camera.
that the wrong way.
Why is that?
He is sheriff.
He's an ex-sheriff. He's always a sheriff.
Okay, but you need to say
I don't need to say nothing. I can call him what I want to.
How are you doing? I'm Kiki Bettis. Nice to meet
Who are
you.
you, Kiki?
Kiki Bettis.
Bettis?
Sir, I'm victim coordinator for the district attorney's office.
Oh, are you? Well, nice to
But,
meet you.
I'm
Sorry if
not born, no, I'm not born here, but I've been raised here.
Sorry if that was a little rude, but I don't like getting told what to do too much.
Oh,
And
no,
then
it's
somebody
okay.
does tell me.
I was 20 years at the journalism. I worked for the
Cool.
Wood County Democrat
Cool.
for years.
Cool.
With Larry Tucker and Nell French.
Yeah, I've known
Bill
Larry and
Hall,
Brent and Nell all my life.
Yeah, I
Nell
mean
was a
Tucker's
pup.
Tucker's like my second dad. So
Cool.
That was an honor for me.
Okay.
He's like my second
Well,
dad.
let me
so-
get out of here before I get arrested.
Oh, come on now. You can't be
I don't
that
want to
bad.
see you in that
I don't
capacity.
even know who you are. You can't be that bad.
Oh, she can tell you. She said she didn't think I was the type that could get arrested, and I said, oh, you better.
I don't even remember all that.
As I was leaving the forum, I noticed this constable waiting in the parking lot looked like across the street, and then I pulled in here to see if he was going to pass by, and he pulled in here also, so we're going to see what he's doing. Maybe he's getting on out of here. I think he saw the video.